When I first wrote my book, The Richer Woman, I didn't actually know how much of an impact it was going to have on people. Vera Alex read my book, and it gave her the courage to write her own book, Broken but Beautiful. Vera was raped by her father's brother, and she shares how this affected her growing up, especially in secondary school. But today, God has given her beauty for ashes. My name is Umilola Oshikoya. Our topic for today is Broken but Beautiful. Welcome to the heart of the matter.
These things sometimes are psychology.
As one of the many reasons was a God experience. I just wanted to find God, simply feeling like you're inspired. May it be always. So
Tell us about the solution.
as one of
With 18 to 35 years of age, not out of work.
Hey, I don't have the skills for this particular problem to solve this particular problem.
none of us talked about the bread salad.
Welcome to another episode of The Heart of the Matter. Today we have with us the very beautiful Vera Alex, and our topic is Broken but Beautiful. Vera, thank you so much for coming on The Heart of the Matter.
I'm happy to be here.
Hey, good. It's great to have you. So tell me, what do you do?
Okay, so I'm a life coach and I'm an author. So majorly I write and I coach. Those are the major things I do, and I preach as well. So those are the major things I do.
Same preacher too.
Yes, I'm a preacher.
Awesome. Like you said, you wrote a book. So you said you're an author.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank
I know
you.
it's not easy to write a book at all.
No.
Why did you decide to write a book?
Okay. I got an instruction from God that it was time to write my story. Now, I have been writing a particular book for such a long time, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just continue. And then God is like, no, you're going to close that, and we're going to talk about your story. So that was how I decided to write the book, and it took a while, though. It took months because I really did not want to write
It
the
took
book.
a while to write the book.
Yeah, it took a while to like accept, to obey.
So what was the turning point for you?
Okay, so I was watching Joyce Meyer one day, and then she looked in the TV and she said, "It is time." She was talking about her own book, writing her story, and then she's like, God told her at that point that it was time after she read someone else's book, and then she looked in TV and she's like, "It is time for you to write your book." I'm like, huh? Like, what are you saying? And I think that was the time you came for a program, and then you gave us your book for free, and then I read the book that night. Like literally, I read the book, then I cried my eyes out. I think I sent you a message, and I'm like, I think God is like telling me it's time to write mine. So it was hard, but then that was the time where I told myself I had to do this. Like, what else would happen to me if I did not?
So why was it a difficult book for you? Why did it take you a while to accept it?
Because it's my story. It's like I have been preaching since I was 16 years old, and it's been, say, over 9 years, and okay, say over 7 years, and then all through, people have known me for being a Christian, for being the girl that loves Jesus. And so like coming out with my story is like, no. See, for me, I felt
So
like,
you is it that the story
yeah.
and your image,
Mm-hmm.
so the image you had projected to your
To people,
audience
yeah.
or to people,
Mm-hmm.
and your story were two different things. So you felt it was going to contradict, or it was going to mar your image.
Yeah, I thought it was going to mar my image. I felt like they were going to look at me like another eye, because I had been preaching about God, and then they didn't know I had gone through this before. So that
So
was
is it that only so I want to say drone on this. So is it that, because this is very important,
Yeah.
and this is a lot of people's perception. So the perception, I guess, and what made you feel that way is that only people who are prim and perfect should talk about Jesus, or rather, the people that talk about Jesus, or the people that love God, the people that are preachers, they're prim and perfect.
yeah, like they project themselves to be perfect. So I felt like, why on earth would I want to tell my story to these people? Like they already see me in this kind of way, so it's going to literally just change their eyes. So I was selfish. I was just looking at myself for such a long time.
And you know, it's so sad actually because what not that you've been suffering, what
Yeah.
is sad is the fact that in the church we're projecting an image, or the people that are on the forefront
Yeah.
are projecting an image of being perfect.
Yes.
Because then it actually gives the wrong image because it brings a lot of condemnation.
Yeah.
And so for someone like me writing my book
Yeah.
and telling my story, that yes, you may see me out there doing all these great things, but I have a story, you know, I have a past. And I found that it has brought so much relief to a lot of people, because then they feel that, you know what, also it's normal to have these feelings. It's normal. We all have our own struggles.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bible is about.
Yeah.
It shows broken people. It shows people that have been through different things.
Yes.
Noah was drunk. Moses was a murderer. David, an adulterer. Rahab, a prostitute. It shows different things that people have been through.
Yeah.
But then you're able to magnify God
Yeah.
through that when you see your brokenness or your weaknesses. So it's really sad, and I'm just happy that I'm very happy that you were able to cross over, because a lot of people are not able to, and so they keep living this lie that they are perfect.
Critical.
You know, and then where you don't shine light in darkness, darkness will overcome.
Yeah.
So because they're not showing their weaknesses, then that's why they pretend, and then they go and they fall.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, this big person, this man or woman of God, how did they do this?
Yeah.
But if you're open about your struggles and everybody knows, then it's even easier for you, because the devil will be like, this one, they already know, there's no point. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's, but it's interesting. So now, fast forward to after you've written the book now, and the prima perfect image you had before, and obviously the fears of what people will think before you publish the book. But now that you've published and you've given, so what has been the feedback, and how do you feel?
Like, I can literally see myself before and like after. And then I remember one time when I was struggling to write the book, that the Holy Spirit came to me. It felt like he was literally beside me. Like, I woke up from this sleep, and then he's like, so when are you going to write the book? He's like, he was waiting for me to wake up. And he's like, so when are you going to write the book? I'm like, what do you, as in, can I go back to sleep? Would you leave me? And then he's like, I want people to see that you're naked but not ashamed. Like, I'm your covering. I'm your glory. And so, like, comparing from that time when I was struggling to write the book, and it was therapeutical for me. It was a time where I had to like cry and I remember some things I literally blocked out. And then from now, seeing somebody literally told me that all I need to do is remove my name from the book and replace it with hers. Like, it's exactly the same thing she went through. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I've gotten so many feedbacks that I just know that this can only be God.
And I'm sure you're so thankful that
Yes, I am so thankful. Like, I feel like there's like a generation that is just attached to your obedience. Like, we don't know the end, but all we need to do is like just take that one step.
Okay, great. So why did you call it Broken but Beautiful?
It was the title that came to my spirit at that point. So it's like, where I just want people to see how broken you are. Because I have had people recently, up until the point where I read the book, come to me to tell me that they think my life is like so good, like so amazing, like they like the way I love God, the way I worship God, the way I serve God. And then at this point, I just remember that I was never like this. Like, it was never always like this. Like, this is just simply God. So I think everything here, but the broken but beautiful, is just grace. It's just the beauty of God's glory. So that's just basically it.
Fantastic. Okay, so can you tell me about, so let's start. So I know the first chapter is when it all began.
Yeah.
Tell us about how it all began.
Okay, so I had this amazing family that every Sunday we used to eat together, and we were good. We had good times. We had fun. But then my dad's brother was staying over with us, and at the age of 7, he raped me, right? So it's like he raped me at the age of 7, but then consistently he kept molesting me.
How old is he?
I don't even know. I don't know how old he was. And then he just kept doing it for years, until one day I said it out in the open that uncle has been touching me in some kind of way. And then mommy's like, what? And then she sent him out of the house. And then he comes, like he left the house, he comes from his own place to come pick me up in school. And then he does whatever he feels like doing in his house, then gives me transport to go back home. And that kept happening consistently. My mom did not know. She didn't know. And then he would threaten me and be like, you can't tell anybody about this. And consistently like that. I was really extremely smart in primary school. Like I used to get all the awards, all the gifts and all of that. But then slowly things started to change. Like I couldn't talk about, like I used to be really loud, public speaking, I just talk. But then I couldn't say anything anymore. Like if everybody's talking, I was just too quiet. I was too reserved. I couldn't say more because I felt like what is there to me to see? Like my mindset was damaged for like say 4 or 5 years till I got into secondary school. So that's basically what chapter 1 is about, when everything began.
And then we moved from where it all began to a new territory. What does that mean?
Okay, like that's when I got into school, secondary school, and I was very happy to be living my former life, like my home life, to secondary school just one, and I was glad. And
Were you in boarding school?
yes, I was in boarding school.
So you were happy to be away
From home,
the
from
environment.
everything that was going on in the house. And then
Actually, we need to go on a quick break, so we'll continue after the break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're still talking about broken but beautiful. So you were telling us, before we went on the break, you were telling us about going into secondary school and being happy to be away from, you know, all the things that we're going through at home. Continue.
okay, so basically I was glad. I literally was glad. And then I told my parents that day, like they should just drop me and go. Like I kept chasing them away, and they're like, she's so happy, but they didn't know the reason why. So I started school, JSS1. I think I did so terribly in class. Like out of 31 people, I'll probably be like 30th or 29th. But then they won't focus on the people that were 30 or 31. They would just focus on me. It felt like I was the one literally carrying everybody's failure. The school,
Okay.
everybody. So
I wonder why.
I wonder why as well. So I felt drained. There was nobody to even ask what is happening. So everybody just blamed my parents. They just kept saying that she wasn't properly brought up. So everybody blamed my parents.
Not being properly brought up. What does that have to do with academics?
Exactly. So even till today, I cannot fathom the reasons why they made up things. I cannot find out any teacher in that school that just said, you know what, let me take interest in this girl. There's something here that we need to find out. So continuously, I just kept doing so badly. And then they got to a point where they used to flog us in school. And it got to a point where I just told myself, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be comfortable taking 29th, 30th, last position. I don't care. Like, I'm already used to it. What worst thing can happen? So,
What about terms of character? So that's academics. What about in
I was-
character? Did you always get into trouble?
yes, I did, like, so much. I think there was a time where, like, in my house, we're 3 girls, and then we'll take each other's property and then hope to return. So I took this particular person's uniform. Like, I think I wet mine. I wasn't just one. So I took this person's uniform, like, with the hope to return. I think she found it on me. They reported to the house mistress, and then they flogged me on the assembly. So every bad thing, every theft that happened in school was me. So they would literally just blame me for stealing, for everything.
But you were stealing.
I was not.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't.
I were, as in, apart from that uniform.
Okay, but they just thought because you
That's
didn't
how.
want.
That's how. As in,
they said
the
it
thing
was
is that
you.
it kept happening. It was assumption from my own side. It's more like even when I got into just 3, and I had this clique of friends, we're 6, right? And then I would just take their stuff. So they will have this mindset that
You stole it.
like I stole, like I will wear it,
Okay,
right?
but then you should have asked.
Yeah, exactly. I should have asked.
But you didn't know.
I didn't know. So I would just take it, and then they will have this mindset that
You stole
I
it.
stole it.
Oh, wow.
So that kept happening. And then it wasn't just that different. I had character flaws. I did. And then I didn't have the insecurity of being beautiful. I was secure. I knew I was beautiful physically. But then you're not academically smart. You're not good character-wise. What else is there to look for? So it just felt like I was, as in they just pushed me aside, felt like I was no good. I had so many teachers that told me that I was no good at all. So that was just basically what I had to experience, and that's what chapter 2 is about.
So what? You then go on to lost identity. What's
Oh, yes. I think because I was sexually active, I hated men.
Oh, so you were with your uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I hated men for so long. And then I think I needed to like ease off. And then I think I had 2 sexual relations with girls. Twice. One in JS1 and SS1. Like right now, when I think about it, I'm literally just irritated. I'm like, what? So it's like I had to like just, after that time till now, like I cannot remember the reasons why I did
No,
all
but
the
you
things.
were young and yeah.
All the reasons why I did all the things that I did. So, lost identity, I joined these friends of ours, of mine, and then I would do a lot of things for them. Like I literally, as in I would lose myself to them. I would help.
Trying to please
Yeah,
people,
just to,
please.
exactly. I was just
To
trying.
gain affirmation, security.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then teachers liked them as well. So, and everybody in school loved them. Like when we entered the dining hall, everybody just stops. I was in that kind of clique. So that continued up until I decided to repeat.
Well, you chose to repeat.
I didn't choose to. That was when they told me to repeat
Okay.
class. So I had repeated. Now the clique I had already repeated once to join them. Now they were like junior students that were not calling me by names, right? So I repeated again.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like the people that used to call you senior, you are now calling them senior.
Oh wow.
It was bad. It was the definition of bad, as in too
I
much
can
rejection.
imagine.
As it was terrible. Recently someone asked me, said, did you enjoy your childhood? Now this person hasn't read my
Read your
book. Like, did you enjoy your childhood? I'm like, I can't remember any good thing in my childhood, but I'm just like slowly appreciating the things that happened. But I repeated so bad that it was all over. Anybody, juniors could not even come to me. It was just messed up. It was just bad.
And obviously that is all as a result of, these are some of the consequences and repercussion of abuse.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know who yourself,
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes even those character flaws are to get attention,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. True.
And I think in the book I noticed you got expelled.
No, I didn't get expelled.
Okay, okay.
I got they told me to withdraw.
Okay.
Like I did so badly academically. They told me to as in, we don't want you here.
Wow.
We don't want you here. And then
So you had to find another school.
another school, and that was where I.
So when you got into the other school, how was that? Was it a better experience?
I projected all my anger to that school.
Oh, so it was worse.
It wasn't worse. It
No, in
was
terms of then you began to.
exactly
It was
my
so
anger. Yeah, it was worse for me at the beginning, but they took interest in me.
So tell us, you projected all your anger how?
Like I literally I got
What were some of the
angry.
things you used to do?
People were scared of me. Like my mates were literally scared of me. My juniors were scared of me.
So yes. So let's talk about Beautiful Ashes.
Okay, so I think that was the point where I literally just started exchanging my brokenness for God's beauty, right, in place of fellowship. So when I started spending time, quality time with God, and then I would lock myself in the room, I would do 8 hours, 12 hours, I'm studying. My mom would literally just come drop the food in front of my door. She's like, I don't know what you're doing there. Sometimes I'm just fasting, just because I just wanted to get the bad energy, and I just wanted to focus on God. I just wanted to focus on God and things He had for me. So I think that particular chapter is just talking about how I moved from secondary school to university, and how I led so many people in university, Babcock University, to God, and that was just it for me. How I spent time, so much time with God. And then when I was in school, I remember so clearly that I would just be at the back of a particular building, and then I would just be praying. People would just be looking at me, what's she praying about? Like, I'll be there for hours, and then I'll just be studying. I had books, and then I would just be writing things that God would tell me. And then it wasn't like my character just changed immediately. It was gradual, because I didn't even know I had so terrible character until I think when I did a coaching class. I think that was the reason with Immerse Academy. So I took a coaching class there, and then I knew that these things were, they're so deep. And then I had to tell myself the truth, like, Vera, you are cunning, you are a liar. I had to tell myself the truth. If I had not done that, I don't think I would find a way to be better. So the thing that people go through now, I feel like many people lie to themselves. They just tell themselves that
they're not facing the truth.
The truth, exactly.
In the mirror.
They're not telling themselves the truth. So I just had to tell myself, even till today, there's some things I do. I just tell myself, you messed up there. You messed up there. And then when I go before God, I'm like, you have to help me, because if you don't help me, I can't help myself, and I'll mess your name up. So it's more like me going to God for all the character issues I had, and then just exchange my ashes for His beauty.
So who's this book targeted at?
Okay. Students.
Okay.
Not just girls, but boys. Because recently I hear about guys, like boys, that are also being abused mentally. Like, I think it was last month, I was doing the dishes in my house, and beside my house is a school. And then this particular teacher told a 2-year-old child, why are you so slow? And I was crying. Like, I'm like, what does a 2-year-old child know about being slow? They don't know anything about it. And these are the things that just pile up, all these words that people just say. And what I do, what I even do now is that I actually coach teachers, right?
On how to handle, how to notice someone that is having issues at home, and how to manage the situation and help them.
And then also the teachers themselves, how their own lives are. Like, just bringing up things that they do not see in themselves. Like, what are you going through at home that you're coming to pour to a child? Like, just pour on the child. This child has no idea. So are we building a good, as in a healthy generation?
Understand the impact of their position as teachers, and how what they do can mar or make someone's life or destiny.
Yes. Like, I believe that teachers are the major people that would help grow the next generation.
Hence, that's why I pray. I always pray, I pray for my children's teachers. I pray that God sends them the right teachers, and He takes away anybody that is not going to, instill the right values. In my kids.
That's exactly what I do now.
So, what are the lessons learned from your story?
Okay, first, I want to tell people that when they go through any kind of abuse, they need to talk to someone.
Okay.
Because every single wound that is closed will never be healed. It will always come up, and it will affect every area of the person's life. If you're mentally abused, it will be obvious every way. If you're physical, every way, it will just begin to show up. Like, I asked people recently when I coach them, I said, do you realize that you shout? Do you shout a lot? Or are you too quiet? Or do you suspect people? If you trace all those things, like some people will tell you all men are cheats, they've gone through something. So I believe that there's this roots that they need to dig out. They need to like focus on, like, I need to know where the issue is. So when I coach, I tell people, or I even tell people that have not gone through coaching sessions, and I tell them, you need to do this. This is not about just making money, but if you don't have the right mindset, you won't maintain the things that you want to get. So I tell them a lot that coaching, like getting a mentor or a coach, it's very important. So the book majorly just gives people their voices. Like, you have a voice, you have a say in this generation. But then how do you come to the point where you know that my talk matters? What I have to say matters in this generation. So that's what when I coach people, that's what I tell them, and that's what the book majorly is about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can people get your book?
Oh.
Is it print or e?
Yeah, it's an
e-book?
ebook.
Okay.
It's an online
How
book.
much is it?
It's going for 2,100.
Okay. Right, how can they get your book?
VeraAlex.com.ng.
Okay.
VeraAlex.com.ng.
And so they can get a copy
Yeah.
of your book.
Yes.
Okay. And how can people reach you? VeraAlex.com.ng.
Everything, all they need to know is on VeraAlex.com.ng.
Okay, we've come to the end of the show, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming. And also, you're very brave to write what you've written. It's quite, even for me that I wrote my book, I feel like you are brave. You have been dangerously vulnerable. You have, written your story out. But the thing is, you are touching lives, and you are going to touch more and more lives. The beauty about this is that it's not just here. Your reward is in heaven, and God will be so happy, because this is what the church needs.
Yeah.
This is what the church needs. We've put up a false, I don't know what.
Identity.
Yes, and so people that are normal human beings, because to be broken is normal.
Yeah.
To be unbroken is the one that's abnormal.
Yeah.
Everybody is broken to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But because people don't talk about it, people come to church and they just play church.
Yeah.
Their needs are not being met. So a man is beating his wife at home, and then you say pray. But what about have you gone to find out the roots? Maybe he saw his father beating his mother, but he can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And he can't see that, okay, there's someone that has gone through the same thing, but he didn't end up beating his own wife. Do you understand? And so we're not talking about the issues that are important. And so people are just living and getting worse. And what the devil likes to do is he likes to make you feel isolated and like you're alone. So he'll box you in a corner and he will just keep attacking you. So, I mean, this is just a new era, a new generation where God is raising up true sons and daughters. I don't like the word men or women of God. I like the word sons and daughters of God, who are going to shine the light and show their weaknesses so that they can see Christ, because he says, in your weaknesses, I mean, what's that word?
Yeah. In your weakness, Christ's strength is made perfect.
Exactly. So that is where you know him. That's where you can see his strength. But if we're all playing Superman or Superwoman, then where is Christ in it? So thank you. And I know I'm just so excited to see where this is going to go.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. Please watch it again if you need to really get into the details and just understand her journey and see how God has given her beauty for ashes. If you know someone that also needs to speak to her, she's a coach, she's a counselor, reach out. Her details are on the screen. You can reach out to her and she'll be of help to you. Until next week, stay blessed.